all the damage. We bring Jaina, we bring Sonya, we have Spear, we have Blizzard, everything that's going to do massive damage. Let's delete that Garrosh. That's what happens. So it seems like BlossoM wants to have a clean, short games here. We're going to BOE game number 2.
That is true, and I mean, when you push in with your Immortal, that also leads to short games if you can make strong pushes like we saw happen in game number 1 on Tomb of the Spider Queen. So I do believe that BlossoM can make that happen again, but I think that GLuck will have recognized what they need to change. So try not to get so much experience denied. Maybe don't go for the Azmodan this game. I do hope to see a different strategy from them here in
Raynor.
game 2.
Exterminator. It is time. We never had a BOE game with Raynor. I think ever since this week, this is the first BOE game that we have. So Raynor, I think certainly will be banned very likely, along with Hanzo. And so that actually gives opening for Genji, right? Not Genji. Genji,
right.
yes.
Yeah. We'll make that mistake later on.
Ooh, Raynor is open.
Yeah, so this does leave Raynor open. Very, very powerful pick specifically on this map. And no surprise in it being first pick for GLuck.
Exterminator.
He's coming in. No roaches allowed. We're going to take all the bugs out of the woodwork with Raynor this time around. But the first pick Malfurion is not surprising, but the Muradin coming through already says that BlossoM do not want to give any DPS secrets away. Against
Raynor, it is certainly the best to grab as many CC as you can.
Oh yeah.
The ones without escape, the ones we used to have when we didn't really have this many heroes back then. Kelth does, but when we had the burst meta a long time ago, what was the meta right after? Make sure he has no time to burst. It was a CC meta, grab all the crowd control you have, slows, stuns, silence, all the things you have. And that was the reason why Kelthas was even going down a little bit. Raynor still does not have too much escapes. Of course, his Q does kind of provide his escape sometimes. But once you're stuck in there, like once the Nubarak dives under you, then you kind of know what your destiny is.
There's only so much you can do at that point. But counterplay, there's not a lot of it at that point. Li Ning ban, so taking a little bit of that burst out. Didn't touch on the Tyrael ban either, so taking away another means of maybe protecting good old Jimmy.
It is actually a little bit surprising for me for BlossoM to take more than this early when Irel was available, when Irel can peel for Raynor. Raynor actually has a decent time, even against some CCs. We'll give the space for Raynor just enough to do a little bit extra damage. Hello, Valla! Have not seen you for some time here.
Okay, Valla coming through is actually kind of exciting. I don't want to say that, Valla is, meta right now by any means. Certainly more popular in maybe other regions, but not in HGC Korea. And is that just maybe a response to the Raynor?
So there was a big, I guess, thread. It's a different post in Korean community saying, BOE, is Valla stronger, Raynor stronger? Valla did win in the vote, I believe 50-something to 40-something, so it was about as close. But Valla actually had, in the vote and listening and reading all the opinion, Valla actually has more burst damage as well. So I think that's why they actually were willing to give up Raynor and go for Valla instead. But they still do need a secondary source. And there's not too much peel compared to Irel. Blaze can kind of provide that, but it is certainly not the same.
Whoa, Hammer as the final pick here for BlossoM. And let's not even get into, maybe Rhaegar coming through on the other side. This is a really exciting way to finish off this draft. And certainly this game is going to look different than game 1, which is already checking the first box off of it being maybe a little bit more exciting. But I do agree with you, GLuck. The Valla versus Jimmy kind of contest this time around is going to be really exciting to watch.
I was excited about talking about Valla versus Raynor, but Rhaegar Karazin. So it is a double support for GLuck. And with just DTC, it's going to be very tough to sustain. But they already have Irel. They have massive sustain, relying most of the damage from Raynor alone. Let's see how that works out against some long-range hammer, plus a lot of the, which what you don't see too many times, but Valla does have that burst output.
So, you know, back in the day, right, we've had different metas where you'd have just lots of tanks or lots of supports, and now coming back to seeing maybe a little bit more versatile supports joining the team just to support Raynor. I don't know if this is necessarily a shift in the meta, but I want to see what it takes to make Raynor viable, because if you can enable him, I mean, Raynor's just one of the most insane hyper carries out there, and I think if GLuck can find a way to make that work, we're about to see how insane young Jimmy can be.
On a plap horse. Not a big fan.
No, definitely not a top tier mount by any means.
So they switched lane because, well, Kensook are alone and they do have some siege. Let's see the race though. Sergeant Hammer on to the other side. So, and Inspire is available, so they do have the speed up with their minions as well. Not too bad because just because BlossoM started, BlossoM actually started a little after them. So their speed is actually faster with the siege damage from Hammer also.
I was going to say, Racing Hammer is something that not a whole lot of heroes can keep up with, but you're right, Inspire, super, super strong, especially when you do have that wave along with you. And we don't actually get a chance to see many games start this way. It's kind of a rare opportunity.
Core race. I want core race. Let's go.
How far can you go? This is like a horizontal game of Limbo.
Let's see GLuck. Should be Hearthing home, but they're not at the moment. Let's see if they
are not.
Want to go, because if they go back now, they're going to lose the wall anyhow. We'll see how long it takes. Poor Jimmy.
Overlord just being chased out there, as I guess he should be. I'm glad that we aren't just playing this game without keeps, because that would be a crazy way to start things out. But, I mean, it's already a committal by both sides to play this a little bit non-standard, although it's nice to see mirrored objectives as they both take the 12 and 6 camps.
I think Korea only had one single game of core race that I'm only talking about competitive games in Premier Leagues, not in the open divisions. And it was one of the best of 5, 5th game. It ended in 3 minutes or so. I believe it was back then MVP Black who called it up with Sylvanas. I don't exactly know why the other team actually went for the same thing.
Why would you core race against Sylvanas? That seems like maybe not a great spot. I think we're in a different meta by far.
That was a long time ago, probably early 2016.
Things have changed quite a bit since then. I think we're all a little bit thankful for that. But now that we're actually kind of backing up and taking a more standard way to play the game, nobody racing down forts or keeps or anything just yet. We are seeing basically mirrored camps, so the macro, the experience gained is actually even right now. The problem is that this is coming after BlossoM had a much more successful start to their game.
Let's see the race potential here. The Immortal, only Raynor for the bottom. Valla plus Hammer. You can kind of guess, and you're right. It's going to be BlossoM winning the first half.
They do win it, but maybe this will say or tell GLuck, hey, let's not play this race game and just go for an actual engage. They will start that. Base Mel, Gondar, we saw some weaknesses before, but now he's actually doing a great job of just sitting back in the back and actually able to output a lot of damage. The problem is that damage is not going on to the Immortal, and so this is going to set GLuck up actually in a pretty good spot.
They can sustain a little bit, not too long, because they're missing the supports here. As Roxor goes super low, so they will lose the race eventually. Jimmy has caught Stonebolt, Wiz gets face melted, so that doesn't really connect, but they do not, GLuck does not get the Immortal, which was what they were actually looking for in this case.
I thought for a second GLuck was going to be able to keep BlossoM off of the Immortal maybe a little bit longer, but you're right, they didn't have quite the ability to sustain through everything, and now they engage onto Overlord. Oh, Jimmy! Poor Jimmy, he's going to try to get away, but he won't be able to. It's all in vain, and even with 2 supports, not there.
2 support and healing of his own with the adrenaline as well, that's not enough. And the reason also, another reason why they lost that Immortal is because he's still acing the ult, the same because they rely most of the damage on Raynor himself only. So I guess they kind of had to make this choice with the double support, so far it's not working out certainly. Let's see what else they can do, focusing on Kono for now, but he's a Muradin.
Yeah, he is very, very tanky. Not level 10 just yet, but still able to tank through everything. Gondar, let's see how well he can trying to vault away, but even that doesn't put enough damage or enough distance between him and GLuck, and will go down. But meanwhile, this entire time, even though it's not the fullest health Immortal, still going to break through a port.
Yeah, Valla is the best target for them once she does not have a role. Because Rhaegar and Karazim can have massive, I guess, dashes and turning into wolf and walk and run faster. And it actually does a lot of damage. That's what you do secretly in camp all the time. Taking down Kono, just staying there just in case. Not really knowing the perfect rotation of GLuck right now.
I mean, GLuck's still on point when it comes to you know, camp timing, at least mirroring BlossoM, but they are taking a few hits. One with the Immortal up top. They already lost their other fort earlier on that little race that they decided to go for. But I think the scariest thing for me is seeing history repeat itself, and it should be for GLuck too, with BlossoM winning such a dominant Web Weaver push previously, and now they're actually not choosing to push themselves. They're coming down to fight heads up. GLuck being pushed back immediately.
Only 2 lanes. And they already pushed somewhat too far into the top lane as a trade for the bottom fort. As they were trying to open up the wall, BlossoM, of course they knew there's nothing else on the map that you can paint yourself with your own color here. So good read, an easy read for BlossoM as well. Asgard focusing on to more than so far, so Rockstar takes more damage in this case. Focus now from his teammates.
Yeah, and look at Gondar, just the damage output, so incredible. Rockstar can't stay in the fight at all. He's pushed all the way back. Now Overlord actually getting kind of a 1v1 against Gondar off to the southern side of this fight.
Not the best fight to fight anymore. They hit 10 as they have BFG, everything lined up.
And especially you are not really going to win the level 8 versus 10 against Valla, even if you do get a nice 1v1
The silence there. And Jimmy is stuck in there, but gets the heal, so he is away. He will survive for now, but still level 8. BlossoM onto a chase now. There's a massive slow from the oil. Asgard does not get BFG, but he's going to get killed by Valla damage. The rest, and Overlord does survive. But what did they actually gain from that engage? That will be the question. They could have just stoked at top and bottom, try to just go for the next half of the immortal race, and a lot of something else could have been done, I think, from GLuck.
I mean, it's a pre-10 fight. Well, what's the best case scenario there? Specifically, Reign of Vengeance. So I just want to shout that out. Valla, you know, even though we don't get a chance to see it as a meta pick by any means, Gondar is still pulling it out, making it look very, very good. Situationally, that looks great. Situationally, Wiz maybe does not look great, but the bunker will allow him to buy time for Meriday to come up, at least try for the safe. He's very, very tanky, but can't sustain through 4 enemy team members. And now Hong Kono coming up might donate himself as well.
Just screaming level 10s here, but actually they're getting cut off one by one. Look at that bloodlust, insta bloodlust. I was guessing that was going to be bloodlust, and they will actually get massive power spike at 10. But okay, that was a questionable rotation for BlossoM as well.
They're buying time for the Immortal.
If you put it in a good way.
Yeah, I'm trying to shill for them as much as I can, GLuck. It's going to be a full shield Immortal here, so this is going to take the entire focus of GLuck. This is one of the more comical parts of this battlefield, is that we just get a chance to see the might of 4 human beings. These are critical thinkers, and it takes 4 of them to try to deal with this AI objective pushing the top lane.
I think BlossoM wins overall, even though they lost 2 of the members. I think only losing Wiz was optimal for them to get the Immortal, one of the strongest objectives in Hero of the Storm. Winning the Immortal, you can descend in other lane and push the other lane at the same time with 5-man. And BlossoM basically lost that power when they have a sieging comp because they lost the 2 in the front line, so they couldn't really do anything else in the mid-time. Okay, Bloodlust back in 7, so they are testing this.
That is going to be very scary when you combo that with all the damage that Raynor can put out. And I think Overlord is starting to show that with this double support, you can actually stay alive back towards the back. You do combo that. The very scary Bloodlust. The best case scenario for GLuck actually looks insane. So I hope they can pull it off and show us the way to play Raynor, but that hasn't happened just yet.
There are a few counters against all the 7-sided Big Mosh and Bloodlust damage. That's going to be the burst. Some silence will have, but most of the damage will come out from the auto attack, the basic attacks. So bunker timing will be crucial from Wiz, which he had mistakes yesterday's and today's being a little bit too aggressive. Let's see how passively he will actually, not just making his own play, try to make some exit route for his teammates.
Calling down the Raider, extra DPS, and looking to put that to use here is GLuck, but maybe a little bit of a catch there onto Asgard. Of course, that is Jarrell, so it can be safe, not too much at risk. Healing up over time. Back behind this. And BlossoM are doing a good job not allowing GLuck to get that optimal engage that they're looking for. You can see ETC always. Rocks are up in the front, looking for that dream mosh.
But for that to happen, they need to cut off. He needs to wait for some CCs to be out of there. There are still lots of crowd control. Even Twilight Dream sometimes gets the mosh pit perfect range. Where's the hole?
I'm waiting for it. I mean, Roxy's trying to find it.
Yes.
Good job, Modern, pushing back, still continuing to deal out all that siege damage. Asgard locked up in the front, but taking enough to survive through everything. Wiz lighting the world on fire, but more importantly, doing a great job zoning for his backline. Now Gondar taking a couple of hits there, but
stun out the Modern and cannot finish him though. Does they do walk out and
oh,
Jimmy.
That's chain CC, Jimmy! I don't know what that was, but it's just way too much damage for him to sustain through, and the rest of GLuck will fall one by one by one. Dropping like dominoes, Asgard the last one to fall, but it will be a wipe as BlossoM blows GLuck up. We'll be able to take the Immortal off the back of this.
Get close for a keep and get the Immortal as well. Will be the next one because they have all this time to do free damage. So just keep Modern here. They get stay still the camp as well. And prep on that keep. Of course, you can't destroy with these two, but do some more damage with your camp that you got before the fight.
Yep, bonus camp damage, bonus keep damage, and of course being able to withdraw behind that and finish off this Immortal. Just an insane amount of, an insane advantage for BlossoM. They were able to not only win the fight, they get huge XP lead, now 3 level for a moment. More importantly, just every objective, stealing camp away. They do have to fight again, maybe in a somewhat weakened state, so if GLuck can get a big counterplay here, this could be their avenue back into the game. Overlord, lots of damage from behind, and here comes the 7-sided, the burst coming down as well. Bloodlust is not up for this fight, crucially enough, so maybe this is the opportunity for BlossoM to turn things back around, and I think they just will. Asgard will get popped there in the front. The first casualty for an attempted re-engage by GLuck.
Bloodlust comes back now, but only as a safety tool. Trying to body block for Overlord, but that's another Jimmy gone already. And this might just be the game call here. Immortal still full shields. Will be getting the damage, but right after it will be the core. 3 members left for GLuck, but when you do not have Ancestral, you can't really massively heal your teammate. And the other support is the Kerosene with the 7-sided, not the Palm. Rockstar does survive for now, but can they defend against this full shield or not anymore half, but still has a lot of shield.
That is true. This is almost going to be impossible for GLuck, but they will try. And they do have a lot of damage, but with that Bloodlust down, you know, that's not going to be as big a possibility. Now, diving the back, an attempt by Kerosene, but not able to take out Valla, who does get the return. The revenge is hers. Can they find any more kills? The answer is
waiting for
no.
Mary Day's perfect Twilight Dream for the celebration of the finish. He has the finger on that R button. Look at that. He does not get to use it at the end.
It would have been a nice little period at the end of a very declarative sentence there. What a game.